Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and today was the Qatari Grand Prix, the penultimate round of the 2025 Formula 1 Championship, and it gave us another shocking result to really shake up this end to what has been a very interesting championship. It means that with one race left next weekend, there is just 16 points between the top three drivers, and it was all down to McLaren. They did this all to themselves. All that tension that's going to be in the next week, the race at the end of the championship, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the pressure on Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri now, for one of them to win the championship and be the first McLaren driver to be Formula 1 champion since Lewis Hamilton in 2008, it's a lot. And especially with Max Verstappen chasing you, who has taken this points gap from over 100 down to 12. With one race left. It's an insane championship run for Max Verstappen, who has been on the podium at every race since the Dutch Grand Prix. And he has clawed back a massive amount of points. Although McLaren have made errors as well and had mechanical issues and various things go wrong or against them, it's still been a brilliant half a season for Max Verstappen. Next weekend, the final race, it's going to be a very, very tense one to watch, depending on which driver you want to win. And I'd be interested to hear who has the most supporters in my comments section. Personally, I would like to see Lando win. I think Lando deserves it. I think he has had a great season. There's been moments where he has maybe looked a little out of sorts, but I think overall him as champion, it's got a good ring to it. Lando, Formula 1 champion. Oscar Piastri, he has been brilliant. I'm sure he will have more opportunities in the future to be champion. He needs a lot to go his way. 16 points, one race left. If Piastri wins in Abu Dhabi, he needs Lando Norris to finish 6th as minimum. If Norris does better than that, Piastri cannot be champion. So, not only is Piastri going to have to win, he needs something to happen to Norris, really. We saw in this race that Norris, after the second pit stop, he came out behind Antonelli and Sainz, and it was very hard work getting back past Antonelli, but he did manage it in the end through a Antonelli mistake. If he had not done that, I think Piastri will still be in with a very good chance, but it's going to be tough. You don't see Lando Norris. You don't see Lando Norris finish lower than 6th very often. Outside the top 5 this season has only happened 4 times, because he got disqualified in Las Vegas. So it's a rarity, and if it happens, it'll be shocking in itself. For Verstappen, he still needs Lando Norris to finish 4th or lower. It's still pretty tough. But I think Verstappen, on the form he's in, there's a good chance he could be a winner again in Abu Dhabi and still be the world champion. And joining Michael Schumacher in the list of people who have won 5 world championships in a row, they will be the only 2. Incredible season, really. I mean, when you look back at it now, you look at Spain and Austria and Bahrain, and it's Verstappen threw the championship away at those races, really. Because without that, I mean, he would be in prime position right now to take another championship. And you can't count him out. He does just keep winning and keep scoring points. It's been just an incredible... I mean, of course, the results at the moment are pre stewards checks. And we saw last weekend with Las Vegas, that can have a big effect on the championship. For the race, it should have been a Piastri win. He has been brilliant all weekend, so quick. He was catching Verstappen towards the end. It is just that McLaren pit stop. Why they did not pit under the safety car is just insane. At least one of the cars. But I do think Piastri could have forced the issue and just pitted and really forced McLaren to do it. It would have made things difficult, but they were first in constructor, so they're at the furthest end of the pit lane. They could do that. it would have been possible for Piastri to force McLaren's hand if he truly thought it would be better to pit at that time. Same goes for Norris. Danger is if Piastri decides to do the same, you're going to have to stack. But I think one of the McLarens should have been in at the safety car, obviously. Possibly both. Not doing that cost them this race and gave it to Max Verstappen on a silver platter. Max has not been quicker with the McLarens all weekend. He even qualified behind Tsunoda in the sprint race. So this has not been Verstappen's best weekend, and he still won. And I'm glad he did, because it keeps the championship really exciting for the final race. Outside the top three, another average weekend for Mercedes, really. George Russell, not really on the pace. Antonelli, doing well, scoring points. He is now just 2 points behind Lewis Hamilton. So the fight for 6th is very much on. George Russell is stuck in 4th and Charles Leclerc in 5th. So outside of the battle for 1st in the championship, the next one is the battle for 6th. That's just kind of the way it's gone. Carlos Sainz in 3rd. Another brilliant drive from the Williams driver. He has caught Alex Albon. He's only 9 points behind. And the way Sainz is driving, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get very, very close to Alexander Albon's total. It's really strange that Alexander Albon has had a really great year and was almost unstoppable. He scored points at most races in the first half of the year. But since Monza, he has not scored a single point. Now his teammate is catching him. They are 8th and 9th in the championship. Best year for Williams in a decade, honestly. And 2 very good drivers they'll do a good job keeping hold of. And Ferrari, this was pretty much disastrous again. Lewis Hamilton out in Q1 in both the sprint and the main race. I don't think he even got into the top 10 at any point in this Grand Prix. And he's in real danger of losing out to Kimi Antonelli now. And really think Kimi Antonelli had 5 retirements in the middle of the season. Or 5 races out of the points. Really, really bad. But Lewis Hamilton, apart from his 4th at Austin, he's finished 8th at Azerbaijan, 8th in Singapore, 8th in Mexico, 8th in Las Vegas. He only scored points in the sprint race in Sao Paulo. And he's got nothing from this weekend. So the end of the season for Lewis Hamilton has been absolutely dismal. At least at the start of the year, he was scoring points. I'm half expecting him to come out next weekend after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, shock the world and announce he's retiring from Formula 1. Because he doesn't seem into it anymore. His heart's not there. There's new regulations next year. He might not want to bother. Ferrari don't really seem to be in a good place. Charles Leclerc is safe in 5th, but that's not a great year. And now it looks like we're going to lose out to McLaren, Mercedes and Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. And as I've said, Red Bull's points have all basically come from Max Verstappen. That's how bad it's been for Ferrari this year. And Lewis Hamilton has had a dreadful year. He has been dismal for most of it. I don't think we've ever seen him drop out of qualifying in the first part of qualifying, the second part of qualifying, as many times as we have this season. Doesn't get a lot of overtakes in the race. Just seems to be stuck in the midfield. And Qatar, obviously it was a track that Ferrari didn't like. The Ferraris just didn't work here. And that would have affected things. But Lewis Hamilton over the last few races has just seemed not into it. Wouldn't be shocked to see him retire. I think Ollie Behrman would do a better job in that car. Ferrari should never have got rid of Carlos Sainz. That was a mistake. And Lewis Hamilton should probably never have left Mercedes. Another couple of years, if he really wanted it, with Antonelli as his protege, sitting behind the scenes, would have probably worked out better for everyone. But as it is, 2025, it has to be said, this is Lewis Hamilton's worst year in Formula 1. He has looked very, very average. Fernando Alonso scored points. It's not been a great year for him, but he is still in the fight for a top 10 finish in the championship. Isaac Hadjar, who has been brilliant all year and had another good race here, let down by a puncture. And Nico Hulkenberg, of course, taken out by Pierre Gasly. It's given Fernando Alonso a chance to take 10th. I think there's only a few points between them, like 3 or 4. Oliver Behrman is also in that fight. He's only like 10 behind, so it's tight from 10th to 14th. I don't know if Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, they would need big results really to get into that fight. But I think Hadjar could hold on to it, but Alonso is going to push him close. I think Hulkenberg's going to fall to 13th or 14th. But the middle of the pack is quite interesting. From the point of view of the constructors, Aston Martin versus Racing Bulls and Haas, it's still quite tight between them. I think Aston Martin have probably done enough. I don't think those other teams, again, unless they get a freak result, are going to score enough points to overhaul them. But it is tighter than Aston Martin would like, and they have not been a top team this year. I think they'll be very disappointed. Of course, next year could be a very interesting year for them with Adrian Newey at the helm. We'll have to see how that pans out. But again, Alonso, I'm honestly shocked to see. I think we'll see him in Formula One forever. I don't think he's ever going to leave. And he's still doing okay. He's still getting fairly decent results. We saw a decent drive from him today. But this is not obviously the Fernando Alonso of 20 years ago. This is a Fernando Alonso who in the last 10 years has very rarely even gotten close to podiums. It's still decent points, but it's always a shame to see Fernando Alonso down in 12th in the championship. If the Adrian Newey magic strikes and they become race winners next year, Alonso will be winning his first race for, I think it's like 12 or 13 years. It's a long, long gap since his last Formula One win, but it's not out of the question. He could probably still do the business. A point for Tsunoda again, but honestly, this season has been terrible. But he did a fantastic job in the sprint race. Don't know why it just didn't work out for him in the main race. It seems like you got your priorities backwards. Alpine, another horrible race for them. Sauber, nowhere again at the end of the season. I wonder if they've just switched completely to the 2026 car. Behrman and Lawson had issues in this race. So, Stroll was basically nowhere, but did you have high expectations for Stroll at the Qatar Grand Prix? Because if you did, you were mad. As it is, the Qatar Grand Prix was an interesting one. The big incident early in the race, the strategy from McLaren, and really the rest of the race, the most exciting part was wondering where they were going to end up. Piastri did a fantastic job to get back into second place, and honestly, this should have been his weekend because he has been absolutely brilliant. Took everything except the win, which he needed most. Will Max Verstappen win the championship? You can never count him out. But I think at the end of Abu Dhabi, Lando Norris will be champion. That's my prediction, and I'm usually wrong. If I am, then I'm sure we're about to see something very exciting next weekend. Let me know in the comments who you want to be champion, what you think will happen. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back very shortly with more content. Formula E is starting very soon, and I am well aware I did not do my reactions to my predictions video, so maybe I'll try and do that and a new predictions video next week. If I do, maybe. And of course, I'll be back with Formula 1 on Sunday. So, thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.